Let me talk to you man to man for a moment. If you've ever forgiven something in a relationship that never sat right in your chest, this message is for you. Not every mistake is equal. Not every apology deserves a second chance. Modern dating has blurred the lines so much that men are now trained to tolerate disrespect in the name of understanding and emotional maturity. That mindset quietly destroys men. A strong man doesn't walk away because he's angry. He walks away because he's clear. He knows that some betrayals are not accidents. They are character reveals. They show you how a woman thinks, how she handles power, and how she treats a man once she believes she has emotional leverage. Most men don't lose relationships because they are harsh or unforgiving. They lose themselves because they keep forgiving behavior that slowly trains a woman to stop respecting them. Each time you excuse what should never be repeated, you teach her where your boundaries collapse. This video isn't about bitterness. It's about self-respect. It's about understanding which betrayals permanently shift the balance in a relationship, and why trying to work through them usually costs you more than you gain. If you want peace, clarity, and a relationship that doesn't slowly drain your confidence, you must know what should never be forgiven. 1. Disrespect in public pay. Close attention to how a woman treats you when other people are watching. Public disrespect is not accidental, it is a deliberate choice. When she corrects you sharply in front of others, mocks you, talks down to you, or exposes private issues in public spaces, she is sending a message. That message is not confusion. It is dominance. Many men brush this off because they don't want to seem insecure. They tell themselves it was just a joke, or not that deep. But respect shown in private and stripped away in public means she feels safe diminishing you. Once that happens, the dynamic shifts permanently. A woman who respects you protects your image. She may disagree with you, but she handles it privately. Public disrespect shows she values social approval or emotional control more than your dignity. That is a line that once crossed, rarely uncrosses. When you forgive this, you teach her that your pride is negotiable. Over time, the behavior escalates. What starts as small comments becomes open criticism, eye-rolling, sarcasm, and embarrassment. Other people notice. More importantly, she notices that you stay. This betrayal cuts deep because it affects how you see yourself. A man who allows repeated public disrespect slowly loses his internal authority. You become quieter, more hesitant, less grounded. Attraction fades not because you changed, but because you tolerated what should have ended early. One public humiliation is a warning. Repeated public disrespect is a deal breaker. A relationship cannot thrive where your dignity is treated as optional. 2. Emotional cheating. Emotional cheating is one of the most misunderstood betrayals in modern relationships, especially for men. It doesn't start with sex. It starts with secrecy. Private conversations, late-night texting, sharing thoughts, frustrations, and vulnerabilities with another man that should belong inside the relationship. When a woman builds emotional intimacy with another man, she is redirecting her emotional energy away from you. That bond creates comparison, tension, and emotional dependence. Even if nothing physical happens, the loyalty has already shifted. Many men excuse this because there's no physical proof. They don't want to appear controlling. But the damage happens long before anything physical occurs. Emotional closeness creates emotional allegiance. Once her emotions are invested elsewhere, your role becomes weaker. This betrayal is especially dangerous because it is often hidden behind, "he's just a friend," or "you're overthinking." A woman who respects her relationship sets emotional boundaries naturally. She doesn't need to be reminded. She doesn't need to be monitored. She understands what intimacy costs. When you forgive emotional cheating, you signal that your emotional space is unprotected. Over time, she learns she can seek validation, excitement, or comfort elsewhere while keeping you as emotional security. That erodes trust and drains your confidence. Trust is not rebuilt by words alone. Emotional loyalty must be exclusive. Once she opens her heart to another man and defends it instead of correcting it, the relationship's foundation cracks. That kind of betrayal leaves lasting damage, and forgiveness rarely restores balance. 3. Repeated lying. A single lie can sometimes come from fear or poor judgment. Repeated lying comes from character. When a woman lies to protect herself instead of protecting the truth, she is showing you how she operates under pressure. Lies don't have to be dramatic to be dangerous. Small lies about where she was, who she spoke to, or what she really felt add up quickly. Each lie forces you to question your instincts. Over time, you stop trusting what you see and hear. That internal confusion weakens you. Many men forgive repeated lying because they want stability. They convince themselves honesty will improve with time, but trust doesn't grow where deception is tolerated. It erodes silently. A woman who respects you values clarity. She understands that honesty keeps the relationship clean, even when the truth is uncomfortable. When she chooses lying instead, she's prioritizing control over connection. Repeated lying also shifts the power dynamic. You become the investigator instead of the man. You start watching behavior, reading tone, checking inconsistencies. That role drains your masculine presence and turns the relationship into emotional labor. When you forgive lies without consequences, you remove the cost of dishonesty. She learns she can manage your reactions instead of being truthful. That dynamic breeds resentment on both sides. Trust is the backbone of intimacy. Once lying becomes a pattern, intimacy collapses. You may stay physically present, but mentally, you're always guarded. A relationship built on half-truths will never feel safe. Repeated lying is not a mistake, it's a warning. 4. Ignoring boundaries. Boundaries reveal how much a woman respects you. When she repeatedly ignores them, that's not misunderstanding, it's a decision. A man who states his limits clearly and watches them get crossed is being tested, not loved. This shows up in many forms. Entering your private space without permission, pressuring you to accept behavior you already said you're uncomfortable with, keeping contact with people you've clearly expressed concerns about, dismissing your needs as insecurity or overreaction. Many men weaken here because they don't want conflict. They stay quiet to keep the peace. But peace built on silence turns into resentment. Each ignored boundary chips away at your self-respect. A woman who values you listens when you speak. She may not always agree, but she adjusts her behavior out of consideration. When she continues crossing lines, she's showing that your comfort ranks below her desires. Ignoring boundaries creates a dangerous dynamic. You start feeling anxious in your own relationship. You rehearse conversations. You hesitate to speak up. That's not connection, that's self-betrayal. Forgiving this teaches her that your words don't carry weight. Once your boundaries stop mattering, attraction fades and frustration grows. You either become passive or explode later, and neither leads to respect. A healthy relationship requires mutual restraint. When your boundaries are ignored repeatedly, the relationship becomes unsafe emotionally. That betrayal doesn't heal with patience. It ends with clarity. 5. Refusing accountability. Watch how a woman responds when she's wrong. This tells you more than how she acts when things are good. Accountability is the ability to own behavior without deflection, excuses, or turning the blame back on you. When that's missing, the relationship slowly becomes a battlefield. Refusing accountability shows up in familiar ways. She minimizes what she did. She shifts the focus to your reaction instead of her action. She brings up unrelated issues to avoid addressing the real one. Or she frames herself as the victim every time responsibility appears. Many men tolerate this because they want resolution. They apologize just to end the argument. They take on blame that isn't theirs to keep the peace. But every time you do that, you train her to avoid growth and lean on emotional manipulation. A woman who respects you values fairness. She can say, "I was wrong," without collapsing or attacking. She understands that accountability strengthens trust. When she refuses it, she's protecting her ego at the expense of the relationship. This betrayal is subtle but corrosive. You start questioning yourself. You feel guilty for bringing up valid concerns. Over time, you stop addressing issues altogether. That silence builds resentment and emotional distance. Forgiving constant lack of accountability leads to imbalance. You carry the emotional weight while she avoids it. You become the fixer. She becomes unchecked. That dynamic never ends well. A relationship without accountability has no repair mechanism. Problems don't get solved. They get buried, and buried issues always resurface with more damage. When a woman repeatedly refuses to take responsibility for her actions, she's telling you she values control over connection. That's not something you can negotiate away. 6. Withholding affection. Affection is not just physical touch, it's warmth, attention, and emotional presence. When a woman deliberately withholds affection to punish, control, or gain leverage, that is a betrayal of trust. This usually doesn't start loudly. She becomes distant, less responsive. Conversations feel colder. Physical closeness disappears without explanation. When you ask what's wrong, you get silence, deflection, or vague answers. This creates confusion, not connection. Many men internalize this. They assume they did something wrong. They try harder. They become more agreeable. But affection withheld as a tactic teaches you to chase approval instead of standing grounded. A woman who values you communicates her needs. She doesn't starve the relationship emotionally to get power. When affection becomes conditional, intimacy turns into currency. Forgiving this behavior reinforces it. She learns that distance controls you. She learns that silence creates compliance. Over time, you lose your emotional footing and start living in anticipation of her mood. This betrayal damages attraction on both sides. You feel undesired. She feels in control, not connected. The relationship becomes tense and transactional. Affection should flow naturally in a healthy bond. Temporary emotional space is normal. Using emotional withdrawal as a weapon is not. When this pattern repeats, it erodes your sense of security and self-worth. A relationship should be a place of peace, not emotional deprivation. When affection is consistently withheld to influence your behavior, forgiveness doesn't restore balance. It rewards manipulation. 7. Loyalty under pressure. The final betrayal shows itself when pressure enters the relationship. Stress, conflict, outside opinions, or temptation reveal where loyalty truly sits. A woman who folds under pressure exposes how solid her commitment really is. This happens when she entertains attention from others during rough periods, when she speaks negatively about you to friends or family instead of protecting the relationship, when she distances herself the moment things stop feeling easy. Loyalty isn't tested when everything is smooth. It's tested when things are uncomfortable. Many men excuse this behavior because they believe love should be flexible. They overlook moments where she chose herself at the expense of the relationship. But loyalty that disappears under pressure was never stable to begin with. A woman who respects you stands firm when outside forces push in. She addresses issues with you directly. She doesn't seek escape, validation, or backup options. She understands that commitment requires resilience. Forgiving this betrayal teaches her that support is optional, that she can emotionally step away when things get heavy and return when it's convenient. That leaves you carrying uncertainty and doubt. This kind of betrayal hits deeply because it shows you can't rely on her when it matters most. A relationship without reliability is unstable by nature. A man needs to know his partner stands with him when life applies pressure. When loyalty cracks in those moments, the foundation is compromised beyond repair. Some betrayals can be forgiven, but these 7 cut too deep. They reveal character, not mistakes. Respect, trust, and loyalty are not negotiable. They are the foundation of any strong relationship. A man who tolerates repeated disrespect, emotional cheating, lying, boundary violations, refusal to take responsibility, withheld affection, or faltering loyalty slowly loses himself. Forgiveness without consequence here doesn't restore love. It trains her to repeat the behavior. Protect your dignity. Stand firm. Walk away when these lines are crossed. Doing so is not weakness. It is clarity, self-respect, and the first step toward relationships where you are valued, trusted, and loved the way you deserve.